So here we're going to discuss a flight into Da Nang. We ended up high and it's quite interesting to see what happened. So let's have a look at it. So at the moment we are descending just past flight level 300, doing a speed of almost 300 knots, and we are in vertical speed. So there's a few things to note here. First, okay, so ATC made us descend early. And you can do that two different ways. You either manage your descent or you use vertical speed. Now, the first officer decided to use vertical speed here. There's nothing wrong with that. However, it would be better to use managed descent, because if you do that, it will also give you a vertical speed minus 1000, but then if it will automatically intercept the VDEV. But if you use vertical speed, you have to keep an eye on it and increase the vertical speed or manage your descent once you are about to intercept the VDEV. So just a little bit of workload management here. The other thing is that it requires a little bit of local knowledge perhaps, but you always want to be ready for a shortcut. And in this airport here, that knowing that if you get a shortcut from Noka straight to one of these waypoints on the approach, you will be very, very high, because this waypoint here at Noka, it says above flight level 100. So because the track miles is quite a bit, it goes all the way around here, then it will put the aircraft quite high at this waypoint. But if you get a shortcut, of course, then you have way less track miles and you will get high on profile. Now, knowing that, it's better to put the aircraft, you modify the FMS to set at flight level 100 at Noka. If you go to a new airport where you've never been before and you're not sure whether or not you will get high if you get a shortcut, you'll just have to add up all the track miles. You can look at the chart, or you can look at the FMS and add up all the track miles in between the waypoints, and then you can have an idea of at what height you should be at what waypoint. But when I asked the first officer why he didn't put why he didn't force the aircraft to be at Noka at flight level 100, he said, "Oh, he wasn't sure if he would get a shortcut or not." Okay, that's a fair comment, but at the moment there is very little traffic in the air, and you can see that there's no traffic on TCA, so that's a clue. And also, if you're not sure, it's better to be on the safe side and expect a shortcut. Only when you are quite sure that you will not get a shortcut, then okay, in that case you can fly higher. But that was not the case in this situation. Okay, so let's have a look what is happening. We are still quite far away, 80 miles from the VOR. So we can't just use 80 miles to do a profile calculation, because that will show us quite high. So we have to be a little bit closer to have a bit more accurate idea of how we are doing on profile. So let's skip ahead a little bit. So okay, we're descending here, clear to flight level 150 and approaching Noka. Let's see, so we're still below VDEV. And I must say that the other clue that you might get a shortcut is an early descent. Now we did get a very early descent, so there are various clues. There's no traffic whatsoever on TCAS. The radio was very quiet, and we got an early descent. So that's a very good chance we get a shortcut, so we should prepare for that. Now we are approaching 50 miles here for the VOR. Now we will not fly directly to the VOR. There's always a bit of a leg go to one of these waypoints here, and then so it's actually a little bit more. So but let's use 50 miles just to have some idea how we're doing on profile. Okay, so 50 times 3, so that's flight level 150. And we're doing 300 knots, so we should be at flight level 120 now at 50 miles. You can already see that we are way too high. We're not at 50 miles yet, and again we have a little bit more track miles, so if we are maybe 47 miles, and at this moment we probably have about 50 miles to go. but we're not at flight level 120, at flight level almost 180. So we are way too high to be able to fly direct to one of these waypoints on the approach. So we cannot accept a shortcut at this moment. Now, interestingly, the the other thing, the first officer did notice that we might get a shortcut here, because I guess he could see there's no traffic on the approach, so he increased the speed here. Okay, that's a valid method if you are well, we're not that far away though, but we're still quite high, so you could increase the speed, but it's not enough. If you want to use the technique to put the nose down, increase the speed and open descent, you have to increase the speed to the maximum amount you can do. Now, for our company, that's 330 knots, but for your company that might be different. You can go as perhaps 5 knots below VMO, MMO. But regardless, increasing the speed 10 knots will not do anything. So that's not the correct procedure at this moment. Okay. Now, normally in this airport, at about this position here, approaching Noka, they will give you a direct to one of these waypoints, Karas, Monri, or Tamla. But we did not get that. And the reason is, well, I'm not sure, but I assume the reason is because ATC, they can see that we are way too high to be able to do that shortcut. Now, in the past, they did give you the shortcut, and there were quite a few unstable approaches because of that. And now I guess they do their own mental math, and they will not even bother. They will let you fly around the arrival to lose a little bit of height. Okay, so so we go around the corner here, Noka, and we don't get the shortcut because we are too high, presumably. Okay, so now there's a few other things. We are approaching a speed limitation here, and also we have to be at flight level 250 knots at flight level 100 anyway, but this restriction is more restrictive for 2 to 7 knots. These, by the way, these strange altitudes and speeds, it's because these numbers are converted from meters, from a metric system, from the ARP into feet and knots, from meters per second to knots. So that's why you get these strange numbers here. But anyway, that doesn't affect us. So it looks like we might bust this speed limitation here. So speed brake would be appropriate here, either that or just fly level. About that, when to use the speed brake. So normally you do not want to use the speed brake to slow down unless you are above profile. If you are on profile or below profile, then you don't want to use the speed brake to slow down quicker. If you want to slow down quicker in that situation, you just fly level and let the speed bleed off. Otherwise, if you do apply the speed brake when you are below profile or on profile, the aircraft will add power later, and that wastes fuel. But we are high on profile anyway. Well, that depends if you get a shortcut or not later on, which we will get, and that's another interesting situation which I'll show. So anyway, we are slowing down here for flight level 100 and also for this speed restriction. Let me skip ahead a bit. So at about this moment, ATC asked us, let me know when you are ready for a shortcut from Dota. Well, they didn't know, they didn't say from where to where, but they said advise when you are ready for the approach. So when ATC says such a thing, that basically means that you tell me when you are ready for a shortcut. Advise, ready for the approach. Okay, now you have to be very careful with that, because of course when you say, okay, I'm ready for the approach, you will get a shortcut and you have to be ready for that. So you have to check your distance and your altitude using the normal profile calculation to see if you can do that. Now, okay, so next question is, how much miles do I have? Well, there's different ways to calculate that. Let's say that if you would tell ATC at this moment that you are ready for the approach, it will probably let you go from Dothan to Tamla, and then it will cut off the track miles between Dothan and Traco here, and Tamla and cut us. So you can look at the chart how many miles this this leg is, or you can look at the FMS, up to you, whatever you find more easy. But the track miles from Dotton to Traco, and on the other side, this is 10 miles. So 10 miles here and 10 miles there. So you're going to lose 20 miles if you get a shortcut from Dotton to Tamla. I can look at the FMS here. It's flickering a bit, so I have to find a frame where it shows. So we are, at the moment, we're 46 miles. So let's say 45 miles. So if we say we are ready for the approach now, then we only have 45 miles minus 20. So that's 25 miles. Okay, so let's see if we can do that. So 25 miles. So first, let's just take 20 to make it easy. To 20 times 3. So that's 6,000 feet. And we're doing 250 knots. So we have to fly 2,000 feet lower. So that's 4,000 feet. And plus 1,500 feet for the 5 miles, because we're actually 45 miles. So that's, let me see, let me do that again. So 20 times 3 is 6,000 minus 2,000 to slow down. So that's 4,000. And plus 1,500 feet, so that's 5,500 feet. So there we go. So we need to be at 5,500 feet when we get a shortcut here. Now, we are not even close. So that's not going to work. So this is not a good moment to tell ATC we are ready for the approach. Now, when you are ready, okay, then you have to check, you keep checking the distance, you multiply by 3, check your speed, and then see if you can do that. And then when you are good on profile, then you can say, then you can tell ATC you're ready for the approach. But the first officer told me, okay, I of course I'm doing the radio, so I told the first officer, okay, you let me know when you are ready for the approach. And at this moment, so he said, okay, I'm ready for the approach. Now I'm looking at the distance, I'm thinking, well, that's going to be quite tight, but we can always lower the gear, and in case, I think we can still make it in if we lower the gear. So I'll just want to make a point to him to show that actually, you know, this is not a good moment to do that. But anyway, it's still safe, so there's not a problem. So I told ATC, okay, we are ready for the approach, and they said, sure enough, they said, cleared from Dotton to Tamla. So let's see how many miles we have then. Okay, so we go Dotton Tamla, and let me skip ahead a little bit. So there we go, and so there we go. We got 25 miles, exactly like we calculated before. So let's do. Well, we already did the profile calculation again, but before. But let's do it again. So 20 miles times 3, so 6,000 feet minus. Well, we're not quite 250 knots, but let's assume 250 knots. So 2,000 feet to slow down. So that's 4,000 feet. And plus 1,500 feet for the 5 miles, so 5,500 feet. We should be at the moment, but we're not. We're 9,500 feet. So it's good to see how much too high we are. Let me see. So yeah, that's a lot. If we should be at 5,500 feet here, so we're 4,000 feet too high then. That is at 25 miles, that's way too much. But not to worry, we always have the gear to drop, so we will do that soon. Next altitude calculation will be at 20 miles. So at the moment we are slowing down. Okay, so the first officer applied the speed brake here. That's not enough. There's no way you're gonna lose that amount of altitude with the speed brake alone. But and you will have to lower the gear. So, but let's do the altitude calculation for 20 miles, and let's assume that we are at green dot speed at the moment by that time, because we are slowing down. So 20 miles times 3, 6,000 feet minus 1,000 feet for green dot speed to slow down. So we should be at 5,000 feet at 20 miles. So we're still about 4,000 feet too high. Now, when you're 4,000 feet too high at 20 miles, there's only one way to get in, and that's to lower the gear. Okay, so let me just backtrack a little bit. So the other thing, what the FO did, okay, so he asked for flap 1, and presumably to get rid of the VLS. That's fine. Okay, so flap 1. But if you do that, you should select the speed. If you slow down to S speed, you get even higher on profile, and you don't want that. So that's fine to select flap 1 to get rid of VLS, or you can use the speed brake, but you have to select the speed here. And that's not done at the moment. Of course, at some point you have to start to slow down also, but there's still 10 miles to go to the localizer, so no need. Anyway, we have to lower the gear pretty quick here. Okay, so there's the gear. I told the FO, okay, you need to put the gear down. He was kind of surprised, but said, you will not make it in. Okay, gear down. And still slowing down here. You don't really want to do that. Like I said, you're going to reduce the descent angle even with the gear down. So okay, let's see how we're doing now. Okay, at 20 miles, actually we're at S speed now at 20 miles, so we can do another profile calculation. So at S speed you should be 500 feet below profile. So 20 miles times 3, 6,000 feet minus 500 feet to slow down. So you should be at 5,500 feet here. Now we're at 8,500 feet, so still 4,000 feet too high. No, I'm sorry, 3,000 feet too high. So 3,000 feet too high, 20 miles. Yeah, you can do it, but you need to put the gear down, which we have. Good. So I wasn't worried about our profile here. Now, at the moment, ATC told us they seem quite nervous. Do you need more track miles? Because you are very high. And I said, not to worry, we can make it in. Okay, but it's good to let us know. Of course, you have to know what you're doing, and that's not always the case. There's a lot of cases in this situation where aircraft end up being unstable, but not with me. Good. So now at the moment, okay, so the FO, he asked for flap 2 here. That's fine. It creates a little bit of drag. That's not what I would do, but because it will start to balloon and then you get even higher. But since we're geared on already and speed brake not selected here, okay. Yeah, I guess you could do that, okay. But you have to select the speed. And because again, if you select flap 2 and you let the speed go down all the way to F speed, you will get high also. And selecting the speed will prevent that from happening. So okay, so now I'm looking at the distance, and so next altitude calculation you want to do is at for 15 miles. Now 15 times 3, just remember it's 4,500 feet, but that means that you have to be at least flap 1 speed or S speed to be on profile. We are at flap 2, so that's fine. So we can just take the 3 times table, 15 miles, you'll be at 4,500 feet. Now we are at 19 miles at the moment. At 8,000 feet, that's not gonna work. So I asked the FO to apply the speed brake at the same time as the gear. Luckily we do have a bit of a headwind here, and looking at our weight, it's 57 tons, so it's not too heavy. That will help a bit also. And also you can increase the speed a little bit more just to shove the nose down a little bit, a tad more. Okay, so it's 18 miles approaching 15 miles. Now you also want to watch your descent rate at this moment. Depending on your company, there might be descent rate limitations. We certainly have. So you want to keep an eye on that. Okay, so we can increase the speed a little bit more here to put the nose down a bit more, increase the rate of descent. We got the speed brake down. We got the speed brake up, we got the gear down, and here is approaching 15 miles, so you should be at 4,500 feet there. Now we're rapidly approaching that. We're still above the glide slope, it looks like it. We're still at 16 miles, waiting for 15 miles, and we're looking for the 4,500 feet. Make sure you arm the localizer and glide slope. And okay, so it's still at 60. So there we go. We got 15 miles, so we're still 500 feet too high, and we're definitely above the glide slope at the moment. But we also have the gear down and the speed brake, so I'm not too worried about that. Okay, so here it goes into alt star. Now, as soon as it goes into alt star, you have to get rid of your. You have to make sure that the speed is not selected, managed, but because otherwise it might put the power on, and you don't want that. Like if I go back a little bit more, so here the speed is selected, and then it goes into alt star. And when it goes into alt start, it starts to raise the nose, and depending where the speed bug is relative to the current speed, it might put the power on. Now, of course you don't want to do that when you are above profile. So alt start, you manage your speed straight away to force the trusted idle. So there you go. The speed managed, and it will force the trusted idle. Good. Okay, there's log star. There's glide slope star, slightly above the glide slope, but we're still turning final, so that's no problem. And I can see already that we will be fine. Slightly above the glide slope, but still turning, so that will be no problem. Okay, so yeah, you see that this worked out quite well. Um, we are on the glide slope now, almost on the localizer. The speed is normal at this moment. The gear is already down. We get rid of the speed brake. There's no need for that anymore. And next we want to continue configuring for the approach. Now, because the gear is down a bit early, the speed will continue to reduce faster than normal. But it's no problem. At the moment, there was a notice out we should be stable at the final fix, so that's why we applied the flaps a bit earlier than normal. So we got let me see, flap 3 selected at 2000 feet. Normally you can maybe delay to 1800 feet, but because we have to be stable at the final fix, okay, we could select. Now select the flaps. Now I want to mention one other thing. You can see here that let me see here, the spoilers were not armed. Now that's what's because before we lowered the gear early, and also the speed brake was in use, and this is very common that it's easy to forget on the approach to rearm the spoilers, and but no problem, you can either see it or pick it up with the landing checklist. Okay, there we go. We got 1800 feet, fully configured, and the speed is on target, and we are stable. Hope you learned something, and thank you for watching. If you like this video, please consider buying my book Practical Descent Energy Management. It contains loads of examples of how to manage a descent and approach, and it is the only book available on this subject. There is a paperback and an ebook version available. You can find a link in the description below.